Let's try to understand what is percent. Everywhere we go, we see a sign of percent. We see, well, the things are on sale, 25% off, 50% off, 70% off. And at times, people advertise, buy the car. If you purchase it now, it is 0% financing. So even 0% is seen, right? Some people will say, I got 100% marks. And some, I'm putting in 110% of my effort. So percent is something which is so common. But what do we really understand about percent? So let's look into this word percent and try to understand it. Well, you can see percent. It can be read as per and then cent. So cent is about 100, right? Century, 100. Per 100. So you could see this word as per 100. Do you understand? So that is one way of looking into percent. So percent is per 100. Per 100. So percent is basically per 100 or percent. And that is what real meaning of percent or application of percent is. So when we say 25%, then what do we mean? Let's write here 25%. And that is the sign for percent. So percent is normally denoted by the sign like this, right? It has got these two zeros of 100 and that slash in between. 25%. 25% means 25 per 100. So this could be written as, I could write this as what? 25 over 100. So 25 out of 100 is 25%. So that is how you can understand what percent is. And that is probably the easiest way of looking at percent. So if I say 75% is equal to what? Can you tell me? Of course, 75 over 100. So you can fill this up. How about 90%? So 90% is very close to 100%, right? So it is 90 over 100, correct? And how about 100%? 100% is 100 over 100, correct? So 100% is 100 over 100. So what does that mean? 100 over, let me write this in 100, this percent 100. 100 over 100 is one whole, right? So 100 over 100 is one whole. So sometimes percent could be one whole as a number, right? So if you write a symbol, percent with it, it means something over 100. So when you write like this, it becomes a fraction. And this fraction can be converted to a whole number also. Normally you will see that percent is less than 1. Normally, not always. So I'll show you when it is not, okay? So first thing is, we have learned that percent is per 100. So it is always per 100. Do you see that? Per 100. So what per 100? So you see the number written before this sign. This is the percent sign. It is 75%. 75 per 100. So that 75 comes on the top. 90%. 90 comes on the top. And in the denominator, we have 100. So something out of 100 is percent. That is how we see percent as. Now, the way we wrote here in this column, this is like a fraction, correct? And in this fraction, you will see that what is there in the denominator? 100, right? Cent. So that is how percent is considered, right? So when we write 100%, it means 100 over 100, which is 1. But all these percentages, if you calculate with calculator, you can find out what they are equal to, correct? But let me use my calculator and show you how to write these numbers in decimal numbers. So that means cents, right? Think now dollar and cents, right? In $1 we got 100 cents, right? So it's like that. So if you divide by 100, many of you know, then what you really do, you move decimal, correct? Or you see, oh well, there is no decimal here. There is. At the end of every number, there is always a decimal, right? Correct? So when you divide by 100, you move this decimal two places. 1, 2. And what do you get? You get a decimal here and then you put a placeholder 0, right? So this number can be written as 0.25. That is the decimal number, correct? 0.25, right? So how will you write this as a decimal? You will write this as decimal by moving this decimal to two values on the left, because divide by 100. Divide by 100, you should reduce the number and two places, because we are working in base 10, right? You understand the place value? So here it goes 1, 2. So now it becomes hundredth. So it could be written as 0.75, 75 hundredths. Do you see that? So it becomes a decimal number. So here, what is this going to be equal to? 90% is 90 over 100. And when we divide 90 by 100, we get 0.90. Why do we always write the 0 before 90? So that you can clearly see the decimal, right? Otherwise that decimal may get lost. That's the reason why we write this, and it is called a placeholder. Now 100 over 100 is 1. We don't have to write a 0 here, but well, you can write zeros here. That's okay. Now it shows you clearly it's just 1, right? And no cents. It's $1 full, correct? Now, you have seen that most of the percents are less than 1. If it is 1, then it is 100%. Everything you wanted, correct? Now, let's look into some other word. And that is not this time 100%, but let me write this as 120%. Now 120%, is it even possible? Oh yes, you put in a lot of effort, right? Sometimes you say, well, I will put in 110%, I will put in 120%, I will put in 200% of my work, right? To get best results, right? That is what 120% is. So what should this be written as? So percent means per 100, right? So this is a good reminder. Percent is per 100. And 120% will be 120 over 100. And this can be written as equal to how much? Now you have to move decimal when you divide by 100 to two places. Here is your decimal, right? Now we'll move two places. 1, 2. And what do you get? 1.20. And that is what it is. 1.20. So you have seen that even in percent, a fraction, we can have a number which is more than 1, correct? So 1.20 is what you get. Now, sometimes you have tricky numbers in percent. And let me give you one example. And let us say if we have 5% sales, then what does that mean? It looks as if it's a good discount, but how much that comes to? So we say, well, 5% means something over 100. So something over 100, okay, and that something is 5 for us, right? So write 5, and 5 over 100 is equal to what? So you have to move decimal to two places. Here is your decimal at the end of the number. 1, but there is no other number. What can you do? So what you can do is that you can always add zeros to the left. No problem. These are the placeholders. You can always put those zeros, correct? So when you put that, then you can move it to one more place, and there you are. So what do you get now? You get 0.05. So 5% is 0.05. Remember, 5 cents. So that is 5 cents, correct? So 5% is 0.05. So in this exercise, what did we do? We saw numbers written as a percent, correct? So here we had numbers written as percent in the first column. So this is percent for us. And in the second column, we have fractions. And in the third, we have decimals. So these are three different ways of looking at percent. They all are equivalent, right? 90% is same as 90 over 100, and in decimals, it is written as 0.90. So we will have more practice and exercise on converting percent into fractions, into decimals, and then we will do the reverse. We will convert decimals to fractions and decimals to percent. Similarly, we'll convert fractions to decimal. Now, can you tell me how will you convert decimals to fractions? Easy. Times 100. Do you see that? Because percent is per 100, right? So, if you have to go back to percent, then what do you do? Times 100, right? So if you go from here to here, what do? You do times 100. Is that okay? So 0.25 times 100 gives you 25%. 0.75 times 100 gives you 75%. 0.90 times 100 gives you 90%. 1 times 100 is 100%. 1.20 times 100 is 120%. 0.05 times 100 is 5%. Correct? And you know how to go from percent to fraction? Divide by 100, right? So in that case, you have to always divide by 100. Do you see that? Then you get your fractions. Well, these are different ways of looking into percent, and there are few more, right? Let me show you few alternate ways of looking into percent. And that is, you see what we can do? We can divide something into 100 equal parts and take away something, and that will be that percent. For example, we want to have 25%. So what we can do is, let's make some grid here, right? I'm making a grid. I'm drawing lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, right? Now this is the fifth row. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we got 10 rows like this, right? Now to make a grid, we have to draw vertical lines, right? So let me draw some vertical lines here and make 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I made it smaller purposely, right? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So when you draw 10 lines, you get 9 squares. And that's the 10th one, right? So we have how many here now? So we have a grid here which has, so I'm not shading this, this is outside the grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on this side, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we get 10 by 10 grid, right? These are my rectangles, right? And now if I have to shade in 25, how will I do it? That means 25 out of 100. So in this grid from here to here, this rectangle, we have how many small rectangles? 100. 10 by 10. So we call it 10 by 10. Let me write here 10 and here 10, right? So if we have a 10 by 10 grid, that means we have 100 small rectangles in this big rectangle, right? Now we want to take a share which is 25%. So 25% really means that we will shade in 25 out of 100, right? These are 10, right? So 1, so these are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these 10, one row is 10. So if I shade in the next row also, we get 10 and 10, 20, right? Now that is 20 and 5 from the next row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that means I've shaded 25 out of 100, and that represents my 25%. Do you see that? So I got 25% in orange color. Do you see that? Correct. If I have to shade in 5%, how will I do it? That is kind of 5 out of 100 will give me 5%, right? So let me shade in 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've shaded in 5, and that is my 5%, right? So we can write percent as 5%, 5 out of 100. Do you understand? Both ways it works, or 0.05. As an exercise for you, you write down your percent on one side, convert them to fractions by writing 100 in denominator and then into decimal numbers. Also, make up a grid or take a graph paper, right? And take 10 by 10 square graph paper and fill in 25%, 75%, 90%, and so on, and see what you get, right? And for you, the exercise is, how will you make 120%? 120%, you have to fill one hole, then you get 100%, but how will you do the next 20%? Of course, you need the next grade, right? So then you have to draw two grids like this, okay? Make two grids like this. So 20 in one hole and 20 in the other will give you 120%. So that is your second problem to do, right? So what you do is, you need to make 10 by 10 grids, and then in those grids you fill in these numbers. So first number which you are going to fill is, let us say, 20%, and then you do 70%, and then find out what percent is not filled in, okay? So 20 plus 70 is 90, 10 will not be filled in, and then try to fill in 120%, okay? That is a good exercise. And we will also soon talk about a number line, right? So if we have a line here, let us say, I'll make line also in green, it looks nice. So if we have a line here like this, and let us say this line starts from 0, and here we have 1, okay? That means I'm going up to 100 at present, one hole. Then where is 25%? Half of the line is, let's say this is my half, is 50%, and half of half is 25%. So on a line, this number here is 25%. Do you see that? That is 25%. And a number here will be 75%. Do you see that? And how about the number in the center? Center will be, this here will be 100%, right? And in the center, we will have 50%. 50% is, what is 50%? Find out. So we have 50%. 50% is what? 100, and on top we have 50, right? And if you do two decimals, you get 0.5. 0.5, you can write 0.50 as 50%, right? And 50 over 100 is also equal to half, right? So halfway through the line is 50%, quarter way to the line is 25%, and 3/4 is 75%. So 3 by 4 is 75%, 1 by 2 is 50%, and 1 by 4 is 25%. What is 0%? 0 over 100, or you can say 0 over 1. You can write 0 on the top, right? But you cannot write 0 in the denominator, right? Let's say 0 over 100, correct? Because percent is always over 100. Great job. So go through this video once again, and then we'll have lots of worksheets on converting percent into fractions and decimals and the reverse way, and filling in your grids with percent and your number line, marking places with percent. You have to do one thing. You mark on a number line, make your own, and this time the exercise of number line is number line exercise. So draw a number line and this time make a longer one, okay? I don't have space here, so I've made smaller one here. So in that case, put 2 at least. So write 0 on here, 1 here and 2 here, and on a number line you have to put down where will these percent lie. One will be 20%, the other will be 50%, then write 125% and 200%. Show these numbers on the number line. Okay, that is an exercise for you. I hope you enjoyed the video and look into the following videos to understand more about percent, and when you understand all that, we'll do some good word problems on percent. Okay, enjoy. Thank you.